Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to start off the March reading vlog part 1 for the first half of March. Very excited to share some of these books with you. March is also Women's History Month, so I just checked and almost all of the books I want to read in March are written by female authors, so that is like a fortunate coincidence because I didn't plan it out this way. Usually in a year I do predominantly read from female authors, so I'm not surprised. But for some reason, so far this year, male authors have been the most read. I have read more books from male authors than female and non-binary authors, and that scares me. That is simply not the person I want to be. So we will read some great books by female authors in March. I already put up my TBR because in March I will create a new character for my Magical Readathon. I accidentally killed my last character of last semester, which is kind of unfortunate. So we can do all the fun prep reading in March before probably the next semester will start in April, as it usually does. So I'm very excited for that. And I hope you're excited too. I hope I will remember to also talk a little bit about my progress in that throughout this video, because sometimes I simply forget. I talk about the books, but I forget to talk about the readathon things I'm doing. So let's hope I can keep you updated on that. However, I also wanted to let you know which books I'm currently reading, so you know a little bit of what to expect. Right now I'm reading an ebook with my eyeballs, and that is Nightcrawling by Leila Mottley. Now with this one, I am about 9% into the book. So far I can see that it deals with poverty in the US and just the dire circumstances that people who live in poverty have to deal with. So I'm definitely intrigued to get more into it and tell you more about that book, because so far I know nothing. And then for my audiobook, I'm currently listening to Blacktop Wasteland by S.A. Cosby. Now with this one, I'm currently 30% through, and I do think I will get a good chunk of that read or listened to today, because I will do all the cleaning around the flat and then I usually listen to my audiobook. So I hope to make some good progress with that. This is kind of a thriller heist novel. It definitely has some Black John Wick vibes, and we're following a character who has been a getaway car driver and is sucked back into that world when we see him in the book. So I don't want to talk a ton about it here, because I will do a whole separate reading vlog, because S.A. Cosby is one of the authors I wanted to try this year. So that will be up probably very soon, hopefully before you see this video even. So we'll see about that. But that's my current audiobook. I'm enjoying it a whole lot. Okay, so I hope now you have a good idea what to expect from this vlog, and I will talk to you again when I have something interesting to say. Okay, this is going to be a very quick update because it's Sunday and I really my Sundays are holy to me. But I'm now halfway through Nightcrawling, and I wanted to give you a little bit of an update because I think I want to try to finish it today. And so I like to do at least 2 updates per book in a vlog. I'm halfway through this one, and this is definitely a lot. This is a very dark book. The stuff that happens in there is horrifying. It makes me sick to my stomach, to be honest, but it's also the lived experience of people. So I think it is important to consider that and to sometimes read books like that, but it is not enjoyable whatsoever, and I want to make that very clear. So in this book, we follow a girl called Kiara. She seems to be living in quite a lot of poverty, and she's living together with her brother Marcus, and next door there is a woman that is addicted to drugs, and she has a small son called Trevor, and so Kiara is also trying to take care of Trevor. We do know that Marcus and Kiara don't really have parents anymore. The father has passed away from an illness, and the mother is currently gone. Like, we learn what happened there, but I don't want to spoil that. So they really are just like left not really having any money, any like security net, anything. So Marcus is trying to be this like famous like hip hop rapper, whatever thing, and he spends all his energy and money on that, but not getting anything out of it. They have an uncle who made it big, so now Marcus thinks that he's gonna be the next one, and that it is kind of his right to achieve that. And so it's really on Kiara to hold it all together and to make sure that they have money for rent and for groceries. And she is only 17, so yeah, she's technically a minor, and she decides to, well, decide is maybe a strong word. She kind of stumbles into sex work, and so we follow her on that journey, and we see the people who take advantage of her, and it's like really horrifying to read about that. Now, what I must say is that this book doesn't glorify it. It also doesn't really condemn it. I think it just really shows how like criminalizing sex work is very bad, and that it just leads to people being without protection, and it's just so easy for everyone to exploit these girls and women just because what they're doing is criminalized. So I think that is like a very important thing when it comes to talking about sex work. And then also I like that this doesn't really go into any detail while we know what is happening to her, and it's definitely like horrifying. It does not like exploit it. It's not like tragedy porn, if you know what I'm saying. So I really like that because stuff like that can be very triggering, and obviously still a huge content warning for that, but I think the way the book is written is not too triggering, so it's fine for me to read, but you have to make your own choice on that. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say for now. Like, this book will make you so mad at men, and sometimes I do like that, but yeah, it's a choice. It's definitely a choice, and it's just like, it's just so terrible that this is what some people have to go through just because of when they were born, where they were born, the poverty they have inherited from their parents. It's just terrible. So today is the 3rd of March and we're doing the 3rd update in 3 days. We can't keep going like that or this vlog will never end. However, I did finish Nightcrawling yesterday and I wanted to give you my final thoughts on the book. I think I said the majority of what I wanted to say yesterday and I really still stand by this. This definitely isn't a book that makes you feel very good or that is, you know, really like it is kind of like an empowering read, but kind of also not. Like, you should not be waiting for a happy ending to this story, I would say. However, it's also not just bleak. It does also deal with love and with joy. And I think in that sense, it really managed to keep that balance in a way. So in the end, I decided to give this book 5 stars. It is my first 5-star read of the year. And yeah, I think that's just it. Like, it's definitely an experience and not like an enjoyable one, but I do think that this book has the themes that I'm interested in and it deals with these themes in a way that I appreciate it a lot. So we're just gonna stand by it, 5 stars. And so the next book I will be reading is Happiness Falls by Angie Kim. I'm excited to get into this one. This has been on my TBR in my head for a very, very long time. And this is also for my March TBR, so this will also help me build up my character. With Nightcrawling, we finished the urban prompt, so my character is from an urban area, and yeah, the city that it is set in is Oakland in California, I believe. So yeah, we finished that. Now we're moving on to the next book. And I don't really know a ton about this one, and I want to keep it that way, so I will tell you more about it once I've actually started reading it. Now for my audiobook, Blacktop Wasteland, I'm currently a little bit more than halfway through that book, and that book is still doing it for me. It's like really, really good. I'm really enjoying it, so we'll see where the second half takes us with that one. So today is the 8th of March. It is International Women's Day today, so happy Women's Day to everyone who's watching. And I wanted to give you a very, very quick update today. I'm a little bit in a rush. I'm always running late. You know that about me if you watch a lot of my videos. So yesterday I finished my audiobook Blacktop Wasteland by S.A. Cosby, which was a huge success. This was so shy of like 5 stars for me that I feel a little bit ridiculous to say it was like 4.75 stars. Just bear with me. So yeah, kind of like a 4.5, like a very, very strong 4.5 star read. Absolutely loved it. Probably one of the best thrillers I've ever read, and yeah, this book just keeps you engaged for every single page, which is amazing. I am such a fan, and I definitely want to read more S.A. Cosby very soon, but I'm doing a complete reading vlog for that. So if everything goes to plan, if you're watching this, that vlog will already be up, and there you can hear all of my thoughts, so I'm not gonna say much more here. For my physical or like ebook read rather, Happiness Falls, I'm now almost 20% in. I will talk a little bit more about that in my next update, just because I have to rush a little bit. It is very intriguing so far, but I was also a little bit shocked how far I am into the story already, because I don't feel like for the plot a lot has happened yet, so we'll see about that. And then for my new audiobook, again, it is going to be one where I'm doing a whole reading vlog, so not a lot of information will be said here, but it is Fool's Fate by Robin Hobb, the 3rd book in the Tawnyman trilogy and the 9th book in the Realm of the Elderlings. So there isn't really much I can say anyways, but I'm not ready. Like, this will probably break me emotionally. We'll see how it goes. I'm scared, but yeah, that's my reading currently. So for today, I have a nice little trip planned. We'll see whether I can share some footage with you, and I'll be back with a new update soon. So today is the 9th of March. I had a really nice day yesterday, but I also got a little bit like overstimulated. There were so many people in that city we went to. It was a little bit crazy. Like, if the weather gets nice here, people are just everywhere. So in the end, I didn't end up getting like a ton of footage, unfortunately. We did go to the bookstore, we did go to Lush, I got some goodies to take a bath with in the next couple of weeks. So it was a really nice day, but yeah, now we're here. And today I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna like recuperate from that. But I'm now more than a third of the way through Happiness Falls, so I wanted to finally talk a little bit about it because I haven't really told you anything about it yet. So this is kind of a mystery novel where we have a family. The family is Korean American, so the mother has Korean ancestry, the father is a white American, and the children are mixed race. And we have twins, we have John and our main character, I forgot, I think it's Mia, and then we have like another child, and this child is on the autism spectrum and was also diagnosed with something I think is called Engelmann disease. I'm not really familiar with like English disease names, so sorry if I mispronounce anything or something like that. So basically, the way this family works currently, the twins are starting college, but it is the pandemic, so they're currently at home. And then the mother is working full time and the father is the full-time caretaker, especially of the like teenage son. And so in the mornings, the father and the teenage son, they go out to a park to like get some fresh air, whatever. That's what they do, that's their routine. And the mother and the twin brother, they leave. They actually have jobs where they can go somewhere, and the main character Mia is staying in the house and kind of like working on her studies there. And so she's the only one that is at home when the teenage son gets home on his own. And something has happened, like something terrible has happened. The father isn't with him, so now the father is kind of missing, and that's the whole setup of the story. So only the teenage son, who is on the autism spectrum and is nonverbal, might know what happened to the father, and everyone else is kind of clueless. And so this is the mystery, and they're trying to find out what happened. The police gets involved and all of that. Now, I feel like this book, while reading it, goes by really fast. I don't think that the plot progresses a lot. Like, I'm almost 40% into the book and I don't feel like a lot has happened yet. So I'm definitely intrigued to read more and to find out what's going on, and I will probably sit down on the balcony today. We're gonna have some really nice weather and try to make a lot of progress with that. But yeah, so far I have not a real feeling about this book. I don't know whether I like it or not, but I'm just intrigued by it. And being 40% into the book, I just feel like I should have a little bit of a read on it, but I don't. And then also what's fun, and this is an aspect I like, is that this book talks about like psychological biases that humans have, and it tries to explain like how certain things happen because of our brains and how we just work and all of these biases. So I think that is like a really fun addition. I don't know from other mysteries. So it adds this little sciencey element to the story as well. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave this update at that, and I'll tell you more when I finish the book probably. So today is the 15th of March. I had quite a terrible week, to be honest. I am in a lot of pain right now, which, it happens. So yeah, it's been quite rough this week. I also had like a ton of like fun things happen. Like I went out with some colleagues on different occasions. So yeah, unfortunately, the pain is kind of dampening that joy, which I always like really hate. And you can probably see it in my face. So I'm really sorry, but I wanted to update you quickly on my reading progress, because last night I managed to finally finish reading Happiness Falls by Angie Kim. In this book, we are looking kind of at a missing persons case. I think I've talked about it before in this vlog. And we are looking at this family where the dad went missing, and the only person who was with him at that time was the youngest son of the family, who is on the autism spectrum and he doesn't speak, so it's not really possible to ask him what happened. And so last night I finally finished reading this book, and for the majority of this read I didn't really know how I felt about it. It definitely had elements that I really enjoyed, especially talking a lot about the brain and incorporating like research and theories about how our brains work, different biases and stuff like that, that make it harder for us to solve certain mysteries like this missing persons case. So I really enjoyed the incorporation of that, and I had a good time reading about these things. As the title would imply, this also deals a little bit with like musings on happiness and the question of how can we kind of maximize happiness, but it definitely has kind of like a critical standpoint on that question, and I did really enjoy kind of those discussions as well. So from like the intellectual standpoint, I really enjoyed this. I think I also liked the mystery aspect of this book. It definitely is quite an intense read because you're feeling for these characters and you want everything to kind of be okay in the end, even though you're not sure what that okay could even look like. However, I think the one thing I did not enjoy so much is the actual writing style, because we are reading this story from the point of view of the daughter of the family. And while I did like her as a character, I didn't necessarily like her voice, like the way this is written, and this is very intentional. So it's not that this is like badly written by any means, but it's just I didn't love this voice and the way that the story was told. Like something about it it just did not connect with me. And I think if I remember correctly, in Miracle Creek we had multiple POVs, so we could really get inside the heads of all of the family members, and in this one I felt very limited because I only had this view of the daughter. So I think that is the one thing that just always bugged me a little bit when I read this. Now this also did something that I don't always love, and that is like cliffhanger chapter endings. Now when you read like mysteries and thrillers, sometimes this can be like really fun to like always intrigue you to keep reading, but for me it always makes for kind of like a bumpy reading experience where you're reading the chapter and it's like interesting and you're like, okay, like after this chapter I'm going to sleep, but then there's this cliffhanger which makes like this little like artificial mountain of intrigue, and then the next chapter starts and it's like not really that deep. And so you always have these little bumps of intrigue that never really turn out to be that crazy. So I personally don't like that style of writing chapters. I much prefer it when a chapter is like a little tiny arc. So that's also something about the writing that I did not love. So this might sound like really negative right now. I gave this book 4 stars. I had a good time with it. I think it was a very quick read, even though it took me like forever to read, but that's just because of how I've been and reading not really being like very high on my list right now. So I would definitely recommend it if it sounds interesting to you. I think if you like kind of like mystery stories that are a little bit richer in themes and topics, and especially I love this combination of it being kind of like a mystery, but then also more of a like family drama, because it really tries to explore what's been going on in this family leading up to the day when the dad actually went missing. So yeah, I had a good time with it, and I would definitely recommend it if you are interested in it. I also really enjoyed the author's note at the end, where the author talked a little bit more about the actual like real life science that she tried to incorporate in the story, and where she made some things up and why she did it. And I think that was like really good to have in a book like that, because yeah, during the reading experience, I was sometimes wondering, like, is this actual stuff that is happening right now? Like, do we have scientific evidence for these things? And so it was good to have this author's note to answer these questions as well. I feel like this is the longest update. You really didn't need that, but I'm so sorry. I'm not very fast in my brain today. So what I want to do next, and yeah, I think I deserve that today. So I want to read today the Cybernetic Tea Shop by Meredith Katz. This is a little a cozy fantasy novella. It's only about 100 pages. The font is quite big, which I think will be good for my eyes today and my brain in general. So yeah, I'm reading this for this prompt to read it in less than 5 sittings. So my hope is that I will read it completely today in like 1 or 2 sittings, and I'm pretty confident that I can do that if the pain level doesn't spike anymore. So we'll see about that, but that's the plan for today. And since I anticipate that this won't be a big challenge, I have some other ideas as well. So for one thing, I would really like to finally finish reading The Hobbit. Like, I only have a couple of chapters left, so this might be something that I just attempt to do this weekend as well. Again, this book for me is just like a hug, so I think I deserve stuff like that this weekend, and so that might be something I attempt to do after reading the Cybernetic Tea Shop. And then I am in a bit of a dilemma where I want to go next, but I think we can talk about that in my next update, which will probably be tomorrow, where I'll let you know whether I managed to do these 2 things today and then finish off this vlog. And yeah, I can't believe that half of March is already gone. So today is the 16th of March, and with that it is time to close out this vlog, and I do have some positive things to say right at the end here. So yesterday I did manage to finish 2 more books, the first one being the Cybernetic Tea Shop by Meredith Katz. This is a very short novella that is very sweet. I would classify this as cozy sci-fi. We are following an AI technician, I would say. It's called an AI repair technician, and then also a robot. And in this world, the creation of actual robots was prohibited like hundreds of years ago. So the robots that still exist are also like very old, and this kind of like AI technology that these robots were built with, they're not used anymore. So yeah, we have this like these 2 like very different people meeting in this tea shop, and it's kind of about like moving on and like what makes you you and whether you can change in your ways. I would have wished that this was longer, because I think that it had very interesting themes, but they weren't really explored. This is also a sapphic, asexual romance, so that is still quite rare, so I really enjoyed that as well. And I think the one thing I would have liked to see more about is the whole like discrimination of these robots and why people hate them so much. But overall, I had a very fun afternoon with this little novella, and I gave it 3.5 stars. And then I also managed to finish my reread of The Hobbit that I started sometime in January, so I was taking it really slow this time, and it was a lovely experience. I really love JRR Tolkien, and so yeah, reading The Hobbit is always like really fun. This was the first time that I read it in English because I have this like very beautiful copy of it that is kind of like a mock-up of what like early copies or maybe even the first like edition looked like. So it has like the screen edge at the top, and it's kind of like a cloth bound, which I really love. I think it's like very, very beautiful. However, if you have cats or any kind of like furry pets, it's not great because like now this is covered in cat hair that is very hard to get off. Like probably with some tape or something it would work. So for the story, I love this one every single time I read it. I do have some things I don't love about it, so it usually ends up being a 4.5 star read for me. And last update with my audiobook, whatever it's called, like Fool's something. It is Fool's Fate. With that one, I'm currently about a third of the way through, really enjoying it. I'm definitely intrigued to see how the Tawny Man trilogy ends. But yeah, right now we're a lot on a boat sailing with someone who does not want to be there at all. So it's not like the most like capturing content, I would say, but it's always just such a comfort to read Robin Hobb's books. So just a quick check-in before I end this vlog for my character creation for the Magical Readathon. So far we have one thing done for the actual character creation. That is that my character is from an urban area. We had to read a book set in a city or town, and we read Nightcrawling for that. Then we have done one part of the Novice Path, and we did Obsidian Falls, which was to read a thriller or mystery. For that I counted Blacktop, Wasteland. And then we earned the Locket of the Clear Mind with Cybernetic Tea Shop, and we earned the Wand with Happiness Falls. So now we have 3 more books to finish all of that off for the rest of the month, and I'm very optimistic that we can do this. So that's my reading for the first half of March. I would love to hear what you've read so far. Were there any like highlights or maybe also some lowlights? I would love to hear about that in the comments. You can also leave a like, that always helps me out. And if you subscribe, I will talk to you very soon. Bye!